Get ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About You, ABQ.
That's right. It's All About You, ABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, lifestyle, so that you walk away with some value, feeling inspired. Now, the way we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests that you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out, follow us along on social media, or join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage Home Loan Expert.
Now, you probably recognize Grant's pink shirt as the head coach of the New Mexico men's Lobo hockey team, but he's now crushing it in the mortgage space.
Where have we seen Skip? Is the HGTV's House Hunters and part of the top 2% producing real estate agents in the city. Is that alliteration?
Take your teeth out when you're talking to me.
Alliteration.
Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. Mark Kelly is the Water Resource Division Manager at the Albuquerque Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority. And this is going to be a fantastic episode because this is one of the guests that we're truly interested in.
It's true because, first of all, what you just said was another, my intro for you, 18 prefaces. But yeah, I mean, I think we're all interested in water. If you are, if our demographic of our show is correct, I mean, there's a lot of mysteries about water.
We're going to dispel some myths about the Albuquerque water supply.
Because we're sick of it.
Yeah.
We are sick of it.
There's one thing I stand on, it's water.
No, you do? So he's Jesus Christ Jr.
You want to see? I'll show you. No, but I think it's great because we get a lot of questions from buyers, sellers, people that are moving to Albuquerque. Like, how is your water? Are you guys going to be one of these California?
And it makes me mad. I go, no. Like, I defend. I'm like, no, our water's great,
But either way, Albuquerque does have a 100-year plan to help to tackle any type of water issues, whether it's population growth, drought. We're going to be okay, and so we're going to talk more about that in the second segment. So.
That's interesting because I have always wondered about that. Like, how does it actually get to us, and do we get to? Because there's a lot of water rights, right? There's litigation all the time about water, and I don't want to get too far in the segment. But.
We got graphs, we got charts, we got.
Yeah, we have a.
It's going to be great.
We have a graph that Skip is going to probably take.
I made
that he did not make
in arts and crafts with some paste. But Grant, man, what have you been up to, buddy?
Shoot, man. Planning for the weekend. I've got a weekend tournament, Los Alamos outdoor tournament. I don't want to get too far into that, but we're.
So hockey. This is where you guys go up to. You take the team up to Los Alamos and you play in the outdoor rink.
Yeah. We could talk about that because not a lot of people know we have a wonderful outdoor rink in Los Alamos. And it's like cascaded, and then it's got like the pine trees surrounding it, and it's just carved out. It's really pretty, and people, especially in the hockey world, don't understand that we can do that here. New Mexico is this. Well,
so talk about outdoor hockey is more of a Canadian thing, or more of like a northeast. Because it gets colder there.
It is. I would consider Los Alamos like a northeast city, though. I mean, it has the likelihoods of everything that you would expect in something back east. So, they have an ice rink that is completely outdoors and is subject to snow, and it's beautiful.
Well, that's cool. And you guys invite other college teams from around the region?
Right, big. Air Force is coming. Missouri State's coming. ASU's coming. And so the other thing is ASU, right? People go, what kind of hockey team? ASU is a thriving program because if you're a back east kid and you're tired of the snow, why wouldn't you go to ASU? Plus, they market 500 blonde girls on the pamphlet, so.
Gross.
What about you? What'd you do this weekend?
Just dad life in it. But Ashley and I are in the market to buy a piece of property. We're home shopping, and so But one thing I noticed in real estate, and we'll just kind of switch over to commercial, and you'll notice this too, no matter what part of town you're in, ever since we legalized cannabis here, you're seeing cannabis shops on every corner, and sometimes 4 of them on each corner at each intersection.
How does that keep going? I mean, do people, it reminds me of jerky shops. Do people need that much jerky? You know, do you have a jerky guy?
Big jerky guy.
Yeah, but like, are people just having, they have to have oversaturation. That's what my belief. How can that much cannabis,
How can it get delivered? Well, let me tell you. Current events. Bulk cannabis delivery service has now been launched in Albuquerque. So a local cannabis delivery service.
Oh, you can get it delivered now?
Yeah.
It's like Grubhub for cannabis?
Prescotti has partnered with the company Best Days to offer bulk cannabis delivery here in Albuquerque. Now, the partnership offers cannabis products in bulk, such as half ounce, 2 ounces, at a discounted rate.
Like
so here's the
Costco.
rationale behind it. A partnership aims to address the saturated cannabis market and satisfy customer preference for known brands. Now, the goal is to reach more customers in the Albuquerque market and expand the reach of Best Days products. So, thinking outside the box. I mean, look, I'm not a big cannabis guy.
No, we aren't.
Ever since I became an adult, but I think it's, that's cool that at least the market's evolving. Instead of having creepy weed shops on every corner, maybe it'll be more underground and just have it delivered.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught buying it. You just go, hey, I need you to deliver it.
Deliver me a 2-pound bag.
Can you deliver alcohol here?
I don't even think I don't know. You can't
So
even buy
how
it
can
on
you
Sundays.
deliver? How can you actually have cannabis delivered? But you can't. And federally, cannabis is still like up in the air, right? So you could deliver cannabis, and you can't. This is incredible.
No, I think you can deliver alcohol. You could call Uber Eats, will go get it for you.
I don't think, because that's true. We'll have
Mark,
to fact
look that
check
up.
it. Mac,
Mark.
yeah, Mark, yeah. I don't know. I don't think that's correct. I think you can in California.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm an adult, so I don't worry about these things.
I just.
But let's talk a little bit more about real estate. And as we get into the new year, one thing that's always fun is to kind of look back and do a little bit of a recap on 2023 and talk about some cool things. The segment I always like to talk about is Redfin does a study to figure out where people are searching when it comes to Albuquerque, right? They do 2 studies. Where are people in Albuquerque searching? Which cities are they searching most to relocate to?
Yep.
But also, which cities outside of Albuquerque are searching most to relocate to Albuquerque? And so year by year and also quarter by quarter, these numbers change. But most recently, let's chat a little bit about it. What do we have here, Mark? So people are moving to Albuquerque from Los Angeles is taking the lead.
I would guess that.
Los Angeles, Dallas, San Francisco are the main ones.
The Dallas one kind of surprises me.
Yeah, but I think Los Angeles takes it by a mile with like 360. But that's cool to see, California, again, people just leaving California and coming here. But here's where I thought was very interesting. People in Albuquerque are searching to move to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I couldn't figure this out because according to Redfin's graph, it's by a long shot. The second place finisher was El Paso, Texas.
We leave to there.
Yeah, people are leaving Albuquerque to go to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And so I couldn't figure it out. So I did some research to try and figure out what the hell is going on in Minneapolis that's drawing people from Albuquerque out there.
Well, yeah, our prior guest, Jared Ronquillo from Minnesota, he loves the cold, but I can't imagine your average Albuquerque person going,
yeah,
you know what?
Yeah, that aligns with my culture.
I love frostbite. Yeah, I can't understand.
So just doing a quick search on their economy up there, what they have, I guess heavy into tech, manufacturing. Target headquarters is up there, but I can't imagine that's recruiting that heavily to.
It would be interesting to interview them and go, so what happened? Like an exit interview, right? You left New Mexico. So what brought you out here? Okay.
Yeah, so that's just some of the migration patterns from Albuquerque
Well, if I leave the show and go to Minneapolis, you know the deal. It's a Target manufacturer.
But let's talk a little bit about, as I know in October, interest rates were in the 8s, and now we're sneaking back down to 6.5. What are we looking at for the mortgage minute?
6.5 to low 3s, but or 6.3s. let's go to the mortgage minute. So an interesting take on mortgage rates. A lot of times I'll do a loan, and we'll get halfway through, and they'll say, "Hey, Grant, I understand mortgage rates dipped," and so the issue is, as a mortgage broker, I can switch you out of a bank, but I can't pull you out of your loan if there's 1 week left or 2 weeks left. So a lot of times during the climate of an interest dips, that it's near impossible to pull you out of a rate lock. So everyone loves to have a rate lock, but they don't like it when the rates go down, and the rate lock ensures that your interest rates don't go up. But during the course of a loan, if you're 1 week in your loan, you have a chance of getting a lower interest rate. If not, you got to stay the course and refinance later. That's our mortgage minute.
So that's interesting. Rate locks are important. You can't get out of a rate lock. And I always wonder, what is the deal with rate locks? And you got to pay to extend them, but you can't pay to get out of them?
Yeah, so it's like at a certain point, money is financed, and so when you have borrowed money, right? Because no bank really has money. Mortgage loans, they have borrowed it at some point for a certain amount of I guess interest rate, and so if you get out of there, they need to up the rent. So that's an issue with people wanting to get a lower rate. I mean, every time week per week, banks kind of finance money, and so if you don't have, if rates went down, that's fine. Banks will honor it. But if rates go up, everyone likes the idea of, I got my rate locked. So
totally. It's good info. Here's where you're going to want to stay tuned to the next segment. We're joined by Mark Kelly, the Water Resource Division Manager at the Albuquerque Water Utility Authority, and we got a ton of questions for him, and he's going to drop some knowledge on us about where our water is going, where it comes from.
Where's it going? Right here.
We're all going to take a shower together.
This show took a turn.
Yeah, and stay tuned at the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite, showering with Skip's tips.
Yeah, OnlyFans.
Yeah. Stay tuned. This is the UABQ podcast. Welcome back to the UABQ podcast. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage Home Loan Expert.
Home loan expert.
Yeah.
So check this out. We're joined in studio by Mark Kelly, who is the Water Resources Division Manager at the Albuquerque Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority. It's actually all on his business card. He gives you 3 business cards.
You had to light him up.
But he's been at the Water Authority for over 13 years, holding positions as the Compliance and Water Resource Divisions. Mr. Kelly is a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Mexico and has a degree in environmental engineering from New Mexico Tech. So this is going to be a good episode because we always talk about all things Albuquerque. So Mark Kelly, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Nice little background. So we were talking a little bit before. So born and raised Albuquerque, and this is what I love is following the story of knuckleheads like us who kind of grew up here, decided to stay in Albuquerque. But you were a St. Pius guy, right?
Yeah, I went to high school in St. Pius. I'm actually not born in Albuquerque. I've been in Albuquerque since kindergarten. So whatever.
Where were you born?
I was born in West Lafayette, Indiana.
Oh, so he's a foreigner.
He's a Hoosier.
Yeah, okay.
Is that a Hoosier? Yeah. I don't even know.
Anybody from Indiana is a Hoosier.
All right.
Not a hoser, though.
You're a hoser.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So went to school in New Mexico, environmental engineer. I mean, that sounds like some real smart people stuff.
I like to think so. Yeah, it's basically the study of pollution in water, air, wastewater.
Well, here's what I like. Here's what I like about your position. It's kind of behind the scenes of what makes Albuquerque function. Like we always talk about the business side, the art, the culture, and all that stuff. But if you lift up the curtain, it's guys like you that are actually pulling the levers, keeping the city running, making sure that our city doesn't go dry. But talk a little bit more about the water here in Albuquerque, because I think it's a fascinating talking point. Like, what do you guys do day to day? Like, what is your behind the scenes? I mean, it's...
Well, we basically manage our water resources. So, we have several different resources that we call them. We've got our surface water resources. That's water that we take out of the Rio Grande. And then we've got our groundwater resources. These are water that we pump up from our underground aquifer. We've got our reuse water that comes from treated wastewater that gets treated and put back onto like parks and golf courses. We've also got our wastewater going back into the river. It makes a whole cycle of going out of the river, going through people's houses and bodies, and then coming back in and being treated before going back into the Rio Grande.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. What are our water rights in Albuquerque in terms of the Rio Grande? Or, you hear about farmers and Corrales and like what their ditch rights are, and like what are we allowed to have per law?
Our water rights, I like to say that the Water Authority is Rio Grande neutral. We actually don't take any Rio Grande water out of the river. The water that we're taking out of the river comes from the San Juan Chama project, and that's a project that was started in the 60s that takes water from southern Colorado watersheds, puts it through giant tunnels that go underneath the Continental Divide and dumps it into Heron Reservoir. Okay. And then we utilize that water and we float it down the Rio Chama and the Rio Grande, and we utilize that water and treat it at our drinking water plant and distribute that to our customers. That along with a blend of groundwater as well. And we do have water rights for a certain amount of how our groundwater wells affect the Rio Grande. So we offset those effects on the Rio Grande either with our water rights that we've acquired that used to be like an agricultural water right, or via our, sometimes we'll make releases at the end of the year to make the Rio Grande whole using our San Juan Chama water.
Okay,
as well.
What are we looking at here? Okay, so that's, you're illustrating.
Yeah, that's where our water comes from. That kind of tells you about the different watersheds in Colorado. It also shows kind of the water going back into the river as well as our wells.
Holy smokes.
That's fascinating too. And one thing you told me, Mark, is that we have Albuquerque, when I say we, I'm talking about Albuquerque as a whole. So we have a series of wells throughout the city that go all the way down to our aquifer and kind of pump out and go into a filtration system, or where does it go once you pump out of the wells? Is there like a storage tank?
Oh yeah. The well water is really clean when it comes out of the aquifer, because as it gets into the aquifer, it goes through a bunch of sand and does a bunch of filtration to get in there. So it's pretty clean when we pump it out. Usually we give it some chlorine to prevent anything growing in it, and then those are kept in reservoirs, like big tanks. And
you see these in every residential neighborhood you're in, whether it's it's just a giant tank, and I feel like in the nicer neighborhoods they're either painted or they're buried, and there's like a tennis court on top,
you can't see
or like
them,
a private helicopter pad on top, and then other neighborhoods it's just like this
pine tree,
this giant
just air. There's your water,
Which tax bracket?
In like the newer areas, there's not as many big trees that have grown to hide the tanks.
Yeah, no, okay. So we were also talking about one of the things that you guys do is you work with developers to work on water agreements as far as how much water each new development's going to need. You come up with a plan and figure out how to get the infrastructure. The developer obviously pays to get the infrastructure in place, but everything's got to be approved through the Water Authority.
Correct. Yeah, we have a no net expense policy, so our current ratepayers aren't funding for expansion of the system. If you want to expand our system, whether you're a developer of like a housing community or like a large industry, we require that they either bring sometimes money to the table, but they also have to pay for all the infrastructure of putting in the pipes. But we also charge for things like what we take to do some of our projects that are going to help us in the future with our water resources. We have a water resource charge that we charge new people like that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this, because this is something that steams me up. Get real riled up.
Grinds my gears.
How our water is really good here. And Mark, can you kind of qualify like why? I feel like, because you and I spoke, and we're good friends, and you said, Grant, our water's pretty good here, and that being that we're fellow Eagle Scouts together, that's all I needed to know. But why is our water good? And like, tell the dynamics about how ours is better.
What you're saying is, like, it's okay to drink tap water here?
Oh, tap water is amazing.
Freak out about tap water.
Oh my God!
If I drink tap water, am I going to die?
Oh, heck no. No, your tap water is very clean. It's very safe to drink. We're taking samples all the time. We take hundreds and hundreds of samples of our tap water and our wastewater, for that matter, for when it goes back into the Rio Grande every month. We have a report that comes out every year called the Water Quality Report, that you can look in there and you can see, how much of all these things are in your tap water, how much arsenic is in there.
Fluoride? Is fluoride
how much fluoride in there is in there.
Is that still added?
We don't add fluoride. We have quite a bit of naturally occurring fluoride, and so we have a lot of fluoride that's already existing in the water from the ground that is in there.
Yeah, and let's everyone take off your tinfoil hats if you're so scared of fluoride. It's already happening. There's some kind of movement, or this woke mass. It's like, oh, fluoride. Fluoride's already happening, right? I mean, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, the fluoride it occurs naturally in our water at concentrations that are really close to what the American Dental Association recommends.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we don't look like the British.
That's right.
Yeah, we're not. If you're over in Britain watching this show, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
when they come move over here and talk about it.
So a couple things that are very fascinating to me. So it's not just let's talk about the life cycle of water, because I know that at some point you have to get into a point where you treat water, wastewater, whether that's toilet water or whatever. I mean, so are you guys in charge of treatment facilities as well?
Yeah, the Water Authority provides water for folks to drink potable water, but we also are in charge of the distribution system for the water, the collection system for when the wastewater comes out of your house, and then we have a large wastewater treatment plant down near 2nd and Rio Bravo that treats about 55 million gallons a day of wastewater, and then puts it back into the Rio Grande. And the wastewater going back into the Rio Grande is actually cleaner than the water in the Rio Grande.
What was there was a prior tank. There was
I didn't see it.
Oh, Mark, cue that tank up again, or the prior one. Yeah. So describe that.
So that's that's just a reservoir
right there.
That
where is that?
Those receive. I don't know exactly. We've got
Yeah, I don't know where that thing is.
That's actually
Look, Grant, we've got like 90 wells around town and probably 30 reservoirs.
You know what's crazy is I've never seen. I just don't see them.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. That blends
but
into the landscape.
At all though. Yeah. I haven't been like, oh, they're we're environmentalist guys like looking around. I haven't seen. I don't see.
Not like cell phone towers where you like notice them.
Well, that's one. Let's talk about something else. Speaking of being environmentalists, and you and I agree on this. Bottled water is it's the bane of my existence. I can't stand the premise of bottled water. You take this water that's probably not high quality, and you go, okay, I'm done. Here you go, environment. Have it for the rest of your life. Like it's just disturbing here when people think that their water is cleaner coming from a bottled water source. And I see it all the time. Unless you're running a soccer camp, I can't understand why you would need 35 bottles of water per family. So,
I mean, our water that we provide is just as clean, if not cleaner, than bottled water. You're not getting a quality upgrade certainly by going to bottled water. And I like to think that we provide a better tracking of our sources and better tracking of our water quality, because everybody in Albuquerque that is a customer of the Water Authority gets mailed, usually in June or July, a water quality report where you can go and you can look and actually see like what the quality of your water is. It's posted online all the time. Are you going to be able to find that from your bottled water source? It's going to take a lot of digging for you to do that.
Yeah, corporate red tape.
Well, and plus, we were talking about this earlier. Water is a universal solvent, right? You'll be pleased with that. But I have to imagine if water's in a bottled source, it has to have disintegrated a little bit. And I can't imagine you getting bottled water and it being the highest quality of plastic like this, and then not leaching some of the.
Well, you saw the study that just came out that each bottle of water has thousands of little microparticles of plastic. They said that it's just as bad as eating a plastic bottle, right? And this actually just came out today. Honestly, obviously I don't have the article.
It's just as bad as eating a plastic bottle.
Actually lighting it on fire and
actually,
puffing
it would be easy. It would be better for you if you ate the plastic bottle.
Yeah, it's better on your teeth. Hey, so here's the main thing. This is going to be a good clip for the channel. But Mark, you are a water resource division manager. You know everything about our plan here in Albuquerque for water resources for the next 100 years. People call us all the time and just go, hey, what is the deal with your water? You guys gonna run out of water? You're in a desert, the Rio Grande looks low. What do you guys have in place that's gonna ensure the next 100 years your city's gonna stay hydrated?
So yeah, we have this water resource management strategy that it's for the next 100 years. It's called Water 2120. If you can check it out online, and it's a plan for ensuring that the city of Albuquerque has water for the next 100 years. So it looks at things that like what our demands are now, what do they need to be into the future, what is our population going to look like. It accounts for growth. A lot of people want to cut everybody off and say no more people, but we are actually planning for growth of the city. It also accounts for things like climate change. We use the latest climate change and trying to figure out what the future is going to look like, knowing that it is going to be a hotter, drier future for us, which means more water demand. So we have this plan. We've got some things that need to happen to make the plan work. Those things are like some projects that we need to implement. In terms of reuse, we need to get more people connected to that reuse water. We also have projects like our conservation, where we need to make sure that we get down to about 110 gallons per capita per day. We've got a goal to get there by 2037. And right now we're at about 127 gallons per capita per day. So we've got a ways to go in terms of conservation, but and projects to be implemented, but we do have a plan to use our water resources into the future. And I think really it's a plan that looks a lot further than just about any other municipality. I haven't heard of anybody. Santa Fe's trying to get a 100-year plan going now, but I don't know of anybody that has a current 100-year water plan.
That makes me rest assured, because I know that's always when people move to Albuquerque or consider Albuquerque for their moving a business here, moving a family here, they go, what are you guys going to be? You guys going to turn into a dust bowl and blow away? So that's great to know, and that's good talking points for us, because we know we get some water from the aquifer, and then also from the the Chama runoff that we discussed as well. So it sounds like we're pretty self-contained, but there are some things we can do to recycle water and also cut down on our water usage.
So what would be the plan? Like, what would be something that might be considered prohibitive in the future for people? Like your average consumer should have, per cap. Like what plan would be in place, or like what would someone find restrictive?
Well, we got to get down to 110 gallons per person per day by 2037, and the hard part is we've done like a lot of the easy stuff. Like everybody's got these low flow toilets. I can't give away a low flow toilet anymore. Everybody's already got them to put in. We've installed low flow shower heads, especially with the newer buildings and things like that. What's really going to be the way that we need to get to these conservation goals are reducing our consumptive use, and most of our consumptive use in Albuquerque is outdoor landscaping. So the more we get into nice, desert-friendly, xeriscapes. The more we get into like,
We've got GastroTurf at our house.
yeah,
It's the best. It's the best thing ever
Yeah, he's
invented.
bragging. You
This
know,
guy-
so now he's going to make me feel bad because
guy-
I have a great garden that's just bountiful.
You have one patch of grass that you sit out there and just turn the hose on for 8 hours a day. I've been to your house.
This is-
you have one of those sprinklers that does. You don't even have like real sprinklers. You just have a hose.
This
you turn
isn't
on.
true at all. So
It's
he's
so annoying.
counting on 8 years ago, and that used to be the case. I actually do water my grass too much. If I'm going to just make confessions, I do run I do have 2 times at 8 minutes per at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I am guilty. My garden, though, I am not going to back off that water because my garden's awesome. But I
Well,
do
you
feel
know,
bad.
We're not trying to have people like to eliminate gardens or eliminate trees. We actually give rebates for trees for folks to plant trees because they actually in the long run help our water situation because they make our city not as hot, and they also, once they're established, we have a list of trees that don't actually take that much water. But we're not coming
What's
for
the
your
science
garden.
behind the trees taking temperatures down? Is there is there perspiration with trees that
No,
put down
it's
the
more
air?
like it's more like shade. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
all right.
shade and then not so much exposed concrete and
radiates.
asphalt that just
Okay.
holds that heat in all night and things like that.
Mark,
So
one
it's
thing I
more
wanted to
shade.
touch on as we, get closer to the end of the segment is, you and I stayed up all night making an arts and crafts project. This chart.
Yeah,
but I want to pull up
here
this
we
chart
go.
and you kind of walk Grant through it.
Yeah, we're gonna certify the Skip's a liar.
So yeah, I like to call this chart. This is the water resources story of Albuquerque since the 90s. All right, and the lines on the top are our GPCD. That's gallons per capita per day. You can see in the early 90s. We were at about 250 gallons per person per day.
That's
here in town.
insane, isn't it?
It's a lot.
So how did that happen, though?
Well, there used to be not the technology that we deal with now in terms of shower heads, toilets, whatever.
Okay.
It just wasn't important. There was this thought that Albuquerque sat on a giant Great Lake of water. There used to be an incorrect thought about the extent of our aquifer. We have a great aquifer, but people used to compare it to Lake Superior. And then in the 90s, late 90s, they found, that's not true.
And
they
you don't
did
need
math.
68 gallons of water per flush. We can't run away with that anymore. So, some efficiency.
Our GPCD has gone down. You can see on that chart that our total usage has remained just about the same, if not gone down since the 90s. We're at about 100,000 acre feet per year. You can see on there in about 2009 when we started up our surface water treatment plant, where those blue bars start coming in. And then I think the most interesting part is this has all happened even as the number of accounts, number of people has continued to rise. So number of accounts has continued to rise. Water usage per person has been slashed about in half. Wow. And water use has gone down and really flattened out in the last 10 years.
So how much growth can Albuquerque sustain to allow enough water for everyone?
Well, we plan for a moderate amount of growth. We look at different studies and what our growth has been in the past and try and project out to the future. Water 2120 is like 8 years old. We're getting ready in the next couple of years to update it, but the growth that we've seen since we started our prediction 8 years ago has been a lot less than even what we predicted.
Wow.
So that was my next question. You guys obviously have your finger on the pulse of our population. Are you seeing population growth year over year, or are you seeing more of a stagnant population here in Albuquerque?
I'd say slight growth.
Yeah.
Slight growth.
Which is probably good news in a way, right? You guys.
Well, when we plan for more growth and it doesn't happen, that gives me a buffer.
He gets to
our
keep his
water
job.
resources.
Yeah. Mark's going to stay employed now.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because that's the one thing we always talk about is Albuquerque's basically had a net population, meaning the same amount of people leave as move here, and I think that with that Redfin study kind of showed that as well.
It's kind of interesting. I speak to some people and they really are worried about future water. And I have a few of my friends that are going, yeah. So I went out to I have some property in Idaho because this might be the trend. And it's in people's head, that some people that have long-sighted go, shoot, can I actually stay here? This is probably big news for them.
Well, I think, we have a plan to ensure water for the future. Things are going to be hotter and drier, and I think people are going to have to, change the way they live for that. But is it going to be like a drastic thing where you're going to hate it? I don't think so.
Climate change is real. Right?
Yeah.
Let's go to the.
Breaking news on ABQ.
It's not conjecture anymore. Climate change is happening. So.
And we plan for it in 2020.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, we appreciate your hard work behind the scenes, making sure Albuquerque stays on the map and stays relevant and stays capable of growth and remaining one of the.
The thing is, I'm going to bring his dad on the show. I didn't bring up any Boy Scout stories. Not that they were that bad, but we could have bantered for a long time about how great Boy Scouts was and what a rascal I was. But we'll save it for his dad. But his dad's a fascinating guy.
But Mark, anything else you wanted to plug about water conservation? Anything else that the public needs to be aware of for the upcoming year?
This upcoming year is folks. I know we're in the middle of winter now, but people start thinking about their spring projects, summer projects. We offer a rebate for removal of grass and replacing it with desert-friendly landscaping. So you can get $2 per square foot on your water bill off. If you do that, the key part there is you gotta talk to us first so we can come out and measure it, and then measure it afterwards as well. So we've got $2 a square foot for those rebates. We have the Water Authority has signed on with other Colorado River users for an MOU that says we're going to cut non-functional turf by 30%. This next year is going to be a lot of trying to figure out what is functional turf in Albuquerque, what is non-functional turf in Albuquerque, and how do we eliminate the non-functional parts by 30%. So we're going to be talking to our customers about that and what that means to them. And it's really, I think, exciting for us.
Do you drive by golf courses and are like,
You see, we don't even have green golf course.
I think
he's probably plays with Ladera's golf course. It's terrible.
It's a tumbleweed farm.
And we do have a few golf courses that are running off of either our non-potable system, which we like Arroyo del Oso and Tanawan, get water from that. And then we have Puerto del Sol golf course that gets reused water. They're actually using treated wastewater to water that golf course.
I wonder if it tastes funny.
You should never eat the grass there.
Don't drink from the sprinklers there.
Shoot, too late.
Mark, we appreciate you coming on, dropping some knowledge about the future of Albuquerque's water and also just what goes on behind the scenes. I think it's pretty educational. So we'll have links to your website and all that information we discussed today on our website as well.
I'm just going to shovel all my grass out today.
Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite Skip's Tips. So stay tuned. UABQ Podcast.
Welcome back in our last segment. Thank you, Mark Kelly, for coming on. That was a tremendous amount of wealth he bestowed upon us. Now we're going to get into our marriage saving segment, Skip's Tips.
Skip's Tips. Anything that saves us time, makes us more money, or allows us to have more fun, whether that's in real estate or real life. Attention homeowners. Another perk of owning real estate in Albuquerque is the ability to build a casita. The city of Albuquerque has approved a set of blueprints for building guest homes in your backyard. So, if your home is zoned as residential, you'll have the ability to build a casita either for existing family members, new friends, or if you just want to have an income-producing property in your backyard. Leave a comment below and I'll send you the link to download those free plans so that you can start building casitas in your backyard and generating monthly income to help offset your current mortgage payment. share this with a friend, and tell them Skip said so.
Everyone, I want to introduce you as the newest principal to La Cueva High School. He's here, he's running admin.
This is the first time I've had a blazer on.
Yeah.
They used to call me Blazer back in the American Gladiators days.
Yeah. Let's bring that show back. What if we brought Laser on here and he just comes
Blazer.
over like, hey, what have you been up to? He's like, I don't know, I'm 65. My back hurts.
You know, I did actually meet Nitro. His name was Nitro. Yeah, anyways.
His actual name his legal name is Nitro Gonzalez.
Yeah, he hosts triathlons now or whatever the fuck.
Does he really?
No, mud runs.
They had a special about that. Then we're going to go into a whole new talk
Welcome
show
to
about
segment
this.
4.
Yeah.
Where are they now?
Gladiators! And then here's how we're back. But I did like when they shot the like tennis balls and stuff. That was cool.
It's not too late. We can change the whole format of this show. This show sucks anyways. Every Wednesday night, Sunday morning here on the Education Channel. This is the UABQ podcast. See you next week.
UABQ.
You're watching ABQ.